Hi, welcome back. Listen, you got three guys going into a grocery store and they're buying a carton of eggs, a dozen eggs. They all arrive at the cash register at the same time. The first guy pays $5 for his dozen eggs. Second guy pays $6 for his dozen eggs, and it's the same dozen eggs. And the third guy pays $4.50 for his dozen eggs. And yes, they're exactly the same dozen eggs. How does something like that happen? What about two guys in Toronto go for a Big Mac? But one guy pays $6.79 for his Big Mac, and the other guy pays $8.69 for his Big Mac. What about that idea that a Big Mac is a Big Mac? And it's one of those constants, right? That no matter where you go, especially within the confines of the same city, that you would think that something like a Big Mac would have a universally constant price to it. But no, those guys can set their own prices the way they want to. Why did the one guy pay $6.79 and the other guy pay $8.69? Well, the first guy lived in the suburbs, the guy that paid $6.79, and the guy that bought his $8.69 Big Mac, he lived downtown. Or maybe he was somewhere close to a sports venue, or he was at some other special event where vendors will typically charge you more money. I mean, we've all been to baseball games and hockey games where you buy a beer or you buy this or you buy that, and the prices are exorbitant, right? So it's the same kind of thing right there. What about if you bought a television set online? You got a really good price. My goodness, you got this television set, it's a smart TV, you paid $400 for it. Oh my God, you went to work and you told everyone who would stop and listen to you about the great deal. Well, you know what? A couple of people in the staff room, they overheard what you were saying and they went to the same vendor and looked for the same television, and they bought it as well. But then they came to work the next day and said, you know what, I got the same television that you got, but I paid $349.99 for it. Huh? So I understand that second person probably bought that television like the day after, and it's not unusual for prices to change like from one day to the next. Like, I understand that. So let's just say in my scenario that the person in the staff room rushed home that very second, or they went on their computer, they went back to wherever their workstation is and they went on the computer and they damn well bought that same television right then and there. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, 5 minutes passed from the time that they heard about this great deal and they went and bought the same television, only they picked it up for $349.99, which is a $50.01 discount, I guess, vis-a-vis the person who bought the original television set. What in the hell is going on here? Why are two people on the same day, essentially at the same time, buying the exact same product, and yet they're paying different prices for it? This isn't just a case of a regular price shift. Prices change all the time. They go up, they go down. They rarely go down, they mostly go up. If they come down, it's usually because they went up so far that when they bring them back down again, when the dust clears, you'll still find that the prices are elevated from where they were before. This is something, what I'm describing here is something called surveillance pricing, and it is as sleazy as one could possibly get. It's almost dystopian. That's a word that Avi Lewis used, and I liked it because it's got that sinister aspect to it. My goodness, how many places can you go in today's society where you can feel confident that the person that you're meeting there, wherever that is and whatever they do, that you're not getting completely hosed by them, that you're not getting completely fleeced by them? With surveillance pricing, companies are using AI or artificial intelligence to set their pricing. And how are they doing that? Well, what they're doing is that they're harvesting your personal data. They're getting it from your phone, your laptop, your desktop, your watch, your tablet. They'll even ask you when you're going through the checkout, what's your postal code? What's your email? What's your phone number? All of these are examples of surveillance pricing, where basically, long story short, if they can figure out that you're a person of means, if you're a person that is affluent, that you have a good job, or you've just generally got money, then they're going to charge you more money if they can for the same product, because the thought is, well, this guy can afford it. I can afford to squeeze a few more nickels out of this dude because he can handle it. And how do I know that? It's because, well, I have information, I have data that shows me what your shopping patterns are, like the things you look for or the kind of things that you buy. I can even tell as a company what your pain threshold is. And by that, I mean, how much money are you comfortably able to spend? And I know that from your shopping history, which is right in front of me. If I have information that shows me that you live in a well-to-do neighborhood, then you're a target for inflated prices. Interestingly, and you score no points for this, but also if I can determine that you're somebody with a lower pain threshold economically or purchase-wise, if I can tell through your private data that that you live in a less affluent part of town, things like that, then it's entirely possible that I will charge you a lower price in an attempt to try and get you to buy whatever it is that I'm offering for sale. Interestingly enough, and this is of course the absurdity of the retail space where, you know, like there have been cases where surveillance pricing has been used to determine that a person comes from a well-to-do area, in other words, that they have money, and the algorithm made it so that those people paid less. Isn't that the way it goes? It's sort of like all the rich dudes who don't pay any tax, right? Because they've got so much fucking money that they can find ways to hide it from the rest of us. And yeah. So anyways, different topic. So surveillance pricing, it's the practice of charging you a price that's dependent upon the personal data that they harvest from all sorts of things. Like I said, your phone, this, that, and the other thing, all the electronics, all the information that they've gathered over you or gathered on you over the years. And it's not like Amazon all by itself is harvesting this data. What they do, well, I don't know what Amazon's practice is, but what companies will do is they will hire a third-party data broker. Basically, these are a bunch of pirates, and they use artificial intelligence to literally steal stuff right off your cell phone. Some of this stuff is proximity-based, like if you're close to them and they can pull stuff from your cell phone. The police have tools sort of like that as well, but they don't readily admit to it. But yeah, these things, these data brokers, what they do is they mine information and they sell it. And that's what it's all about. Like, information has a price tag on it and companies are willing to pay it because it gets them information on our shopping habits, our economic situation, what kind of, well, not necessarily what kind of job we have, but they can tell if we have money or if we don't, or wherever we might be in between those two ends of the spectrum. So it's not the same thing as dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing, just by the word, you can derive the fact that it's pricing that changes. Prices always change. That there's nothing inherently evil about that. But the thing about dynamic pricing is the fact that when the price does change, it changes for everyone. So I mean, everybody pays the same price. Dynamic pricing is something that you will see more often than not in stores that have digital price tags on their shelving, where it can be changed very quickly rather than somebody writing something down on a tag in the office and then literally walking to the shelf and placing it into the little tag holder and that kind of thing. So what can be done with dynamic pricing that's very similar to surveillance pricing? Well, okay, so if I have digital price tags, and I've got algorithms, and I've got all sorts of apps that help me manage and interpret this data. But I can also hook those apps into other third-party things, like for example the Weather Channel. So if I arrange it, so if I make the algorithm such that my site or whatever can determine, or my store can determine whether it's going to rain that day because I'm hooked into the Weather Channel, guess what's going to happen to the price of umbrellas if I sell umbrellas? Guess what's going to happen to the price of rubber boots or whatever, basically. If I, in the retail space, if I run a retail operation and I'm able to find out that you need something, I'm going to hose you if I have it, because need is something that drives purchasing, right? And people will pay more for something, for a product, if they absolutely have to have it right there, right? So there's all sorts of ways that they can get you, and it's all nefarious. I used the word dystopian earlier, but there's a sinister aspect to all of this. It's like I said, you just don't know where you can go anymore, where you can have the complete and absolute trust in the person that you're speaking to, the vendor that you're hoping to support with your purchase.